Mini Goddess Nosha, reporting in! I've seen your work and I'm primed and ready to get started. You just say the word, okay? Everyone back home tells me theft is unbecoming of a goddess. But I just can't help it. It's not my fault. It's easy to take stuff from people. I know I'm young by Vanir standards, but don't underestimate me. I can take much more than treasure. I'll take your life. Was that too far? Pay your tribute. Huron? Summoner, got a minute? Everyone back at Vanaheimer always treated me so darn special. They considered me their little treasure, so much so that my name itself actually means treasure. Can you believe that? Being raised on a pedestal like that, it makes you want to be seen, not as the golden image they make of you, but as yourself, who you are on the inside. I know Heimdall means well, but he babies me too much. He doesn't get that all I want is to let my wings free and express myself, to be me. I did everything to get their attention, his most of all, but nothing worked until I borrowed my first jewel. I got in trouble for it, sure, but by then I had already made my point. I realized that whenever I took shiny stuff, people would see me as more than just a hapless little girl. I'd be cooler than I ever was, and people would want to share their shiny things with me if I were cool. Might have said too much there. Anyways, my point is that it feels good to be treated differently every now and then. Ever since I got here, I've been seen as something more than a little girl. People think I'm some shadow in the night, that I'll nab your gold purses when you're down, snoozing away. The only thing they've got wrong is that I'm no coward. I'll borrow those coins in broad daylight for the fun of it. Haha!
Good day. I am Heimdall, watchful warden of the legendary Bifrost, god of knowledge, and an avid storyteller. Sit by the fire and listen well. I only tell each and every tale once. Am I that fascinating? Have you not anything better to do? I often worry for young Norse. She may dream of adventures of life beyond my care at times, but she knows not of the dangers beyond. If only the youth actually listened for once, One for the sagas! So this is Asker. Even the talents of those whose strengths aren't on the battlefield play an integral role in it all. Always remember the work of those on the sidelines. Fight for their freedom and well-being, for the pendulums of fate swing from one extreme to the other every waking moment. A tale is woven and refined by the passing tongues of generations of mortals. We divine have no power over the stories they tell, but we do have the power to inspire. Our feats of grandeur, our momentous deeds of good faith and generosity, they all cast a light for those that are willing to follow, to shift the swinging of the pendulum. You, summoner, are the bearer of a torch that burns brightly in the dark sky above. In a world so ridden with malignance, transgressions, and injustices, you stand righteously for those that are less capable. Be strong for them. Fight like there's no tomorrow hanging over the horizon. Do that, and I'll always stay by your side, watching ever closer. You have my word.
Mortals call me the maiden of the land. They show me everlasting praise, and I reciprocate their fondness by lending my hand when times are dire. I am Gerd, and my battle prowess is yours to wield. I am the fruit upon the tree that nurtures, the cave that shelters from the rain, the shade of the trees that shield from the heat. I am Gerd, and I, for the sake of all mortals, am at your disposal. May our time together be well spent. Mortals, at their core, are beings of flaw and contradiction, which is why those who stand for morality and kindness shine ever bright. My very heart beats for those vibrant souls, for the mortals who make me smile with their love for each other. Such a pity. Summoner, dear, may I have a moment, please? Privately, if you could. Thank you. When I first arrived here at the birth of Zenith, this land was but a barren wasteland, a void of life, crudely divided by jagged mountains and cascading seas. It was I who first shared the bounty of Vanaheim with the mortals, and in turn, it was your people's gratitude to us, the gods, and our myriad of gifts that allowed it to flourish to this great land you see before you. Sadly, not all of us are as appreciative of human gratitude like I am. That loud-mouthed sailor we Vanir call Lord for one. My dear summoner, know that I am grateful for your commitment to this land, that despite not being where you were born, you have come to care for it as your own. It is because of mortals like you that I do not regret having lent my power to Midgard. It makes me smile to think that even if your descendants were to bear but a fraction of your kindness, that it would be more than enough to fill this maiden's loving heart. Now, with that out of the way, would you mind sitting with me under this oak tree? I've foraged some fresh berries and fruit, and it feels ever so wrong to eat them without sharing.
Ahoy there, Summoner! I'm Njord, King of Vanaheim. You pulled me out of doing a whole lot of paperwork, so I guess I owe you one. What can this old sea dog do for you? What was that? A new form of play? Could I try? You're looking so stiff, Summoner. Fix that posture and push out your chest. Live a little, why don't you? A storm approaches! Summoner, kneel before me at once. Your grace demands it. As a being of purity and virtue, I'm just pulling your leg. I got you good, didn't I? Me, I got a virtue. I've done much of my days, but acting saintly wasn't one of them. I'll tell you more about that when you're older. Hey, Squirt. Jokes aside, I wanted to thank you for bringing me here. There's many things I regret. Things I did in the brashness of youth. All those centuries feel like a haze now with how hard I partied. I realize now I could have avoided most of my troubles if I just sat back and thought things through. Like Gerd. I should really look up to her. You bringing me here reminded me of who I ought to be and what I've got to do before the waves crash in on the hull of my ship. At my age, it's a welcome change of pace to have your world turned upside down. To see things from a different perspective. Maybe that's the lesson we gods must learn from mortals after all. To make the most of every moment of life. I really dumped all that on you, didn't I? Well, if you think I'm brash now, you should have seen me back in my prime. Was one real knucklehead, I tell ya.